Hi everyone, welcome to RPA Explorers channel.
In today's video, we are going to look at one of the most useful connector, which is Universal Application Connector or UAC connector. So let's understand what is this. Currently, I am in the ServiceNow documentation. It is a single connector which can be used for multiple applications. If you are working with Windows application, Java, Chrome or Edge based application, then you can go with this. Also you have separate connector to interact with web based application, Java and everything, but this universal application connector is a single connector that you can make use to deal with more applications. And the one advantage that you can note here is it doesn't depends on image or any UI based element, rather it depends on capturing the screen and elements. So based on the elements and screen, you can just use this in any of the machine or in any of the resolution. Okay, so this is about the universal application connector. You're dealing with any Chrome, Edge based or any web based application, make sure your extension for the respective application is enabled. So now let's go to the studio and let's understand this universal application connector completely. So currently I'm in my studio, and to understand this concept better, we are going to see a complete use case with a simple application. So let's go to the project folder. I have a folder which is UAC. Inside I have an Excel file and one text file and application. And also I'll show how you can get all these three files, which is actually present inside this studio itself. I'll show you at the end of this video. So now let's understand the use case. So I'm going to open this text document first. So this use case, which is a simple shipping management automation, where you have to create a purchase order by taking the input from an Excel and then putting into the application. So that is the actual thing that we are going to do. So the first step is we have to open this application which we have in the folder, and then we have to read an Excel file, and based on the vendor ID from the Excel sheet, we have to validate it. So if it is a valid vendor ID, then we should process the rest of the fields. If not, then we should pop up an error message or something. This is the complete use case. So in order to understand it better, let's open the application in Excel and we'll see. So I'm going to double click on the application. So now we have the Excel and application open together. So the first step is to take the vendor ID from the Excel. So I'm going to take this 3214 and put it in the shipping vendor ID tab. So I'm going to take the vendor ID which is 3214 and put it here, 3214, and the next step is to click on this locate. So once you click on this locate, you can see if it is a valid vendor ID or not. And for any valid vendor ID, supposed to get some company name. So let's enter some vendor ID which is not present in the Excel. I'm going to use this 985 and then we'll click on locate. So now you can see we have an error message that vendor not found. Based on this message only, we are going to proceed with the rest of the forms. So for example, I'll take this 3214, I'll click on locate. So now this is the valid ID. So only if the vendor ID is valid, we have to proceed with the rest of the form. So now we are going to enter this PO ID, invoice number, customer name, shipping address here, and item size, weight, and also we have to use only this phone column. We don't have mobile column here in the Excel, so we should take only this phone. And we have this express delivery and SMS alert, which is of kind checkbox here. So based on the value, we should select it or we should uncheck it, and at the end you will be submitting it. So this is the complete use case, and whenever you have some valid ID and you click on submit, you can see the purchase order being created here. And we are not going to concentrate on this. Go to the studio now. So I'm in the studio. So the very first step is to add your connector. So now let's add the connector. You can right click on this global objects and you can type universal application connector. Name this to shipping management or something. So we have this connector now. So when you click on this and see a method which is start. So the first step is to use the start method to start your application. So let's connect this, and we have to provide the application type. So what you can do is you just have to right click on this, click on port properties, and then you have to select your application. So in our case, which is a desktop application, so I'm going with this application. Click on OK. So the next step is to provide your path. As we have everything in the project folder itself, we have a shortcut which is this project path and providing your complete path. So I'm going to use this path. So you can provide the complete path, anything you can prefer. So I'm just going with this, and let's try to run this and see if the application is getting started or not. I'm going to close all the existing ones. So let's run from here. Shipping management, I'm going to mark as startup. Okay, as you see, the application is launched now. So the next step is to read an Excel, for which I have already added a connector, Excel connector, that is form filling. So we'll double click on this and we'll use the open method to read it. So once the Excel is open, the next step is to read the Excel, for which we are going to use read method. I'm going to use read from sheet, and the sheet name which is orders. So let's provide it here. So now the next step is to loop through an Excel, for which you have to go to your toolbox and search for loop. You can for loop or each or for loop, and I'm going with this for each for now. Then you have to pass this here, and the next step is to get the different columns from the list. Okay, so I'm going to take a list method. So you can use this get list item, and then you can provide this. So when you click on this method, you can see at the top we have this gear icon. Just click on this and add your index. This index defines the column index from your Excel. So we'll go to the column and we'll check the number of index. So it starts from A to K, which is 11th index, right? So it starts from 0 to 10. So we'll provide 0 to 10. Okay, so now we have 10, and also I'm not going to change the data type here, so let it object for now, and I'll click on OK. So once this is done, the next step is to configure your actual universal connector. So this is where the concept of UAC comes. So the first step is to configure it, right? So you just have to right click on your connector and you can see this configure option. Just click on this. When you click on this, you can see the screen and you can see an option to choose the application. For example, if you are dealing with multiple applications for the same use case, then you can go with all. If you want to choose only specific application, then you can choose them. So let's choose Windows application and we'll use this refresh element to refresh it. Refresh, you can use this drop down to choose your window. So in my case, this is shipping management, so let's choose the shipping management here. So we have this shipping management, right? So you just have to select this. I'm going to select this and click on add screen. So once you click on add screen, you can see the screens here. So this is the first screen, and when you have multiple screens, you can just filter it with my name, or you can sort it, and also you can sort with the application type. Okay, so now we are done with adding of screen. So the next step is to adding your elements to the screen. So when you right click on this, you can see different options. So let's explore each and every options here. I'll use this refresh. So once you refresh, if the respective application or the screen which is opened in the background, then it turns green. Okay, so the next, which is refresh screen and elements. So currently we don't have any elements for the screen, so even we use this, you can still see only green for your screen. When you have your screen and elements together, then you can use this option. So the next, which is focus. So I'm going to click on this focus. So when you click on focus, it will actually focus the selected screen. So now I can see this screen is focused. And the next, which is capture element. So let's click on capture element. So when you click on, you can see this small box which is a menu, textual menu box along with this application. And also you can see some red highlighter which is getting highlighted as you move your mouse. Okay, you have to scroll to the element and then you just have to wait for it. For example, currently I'm here and I'm going to capture the shipping vendor ID. So you can slowly move your mouse to the respective point and then you have to press your control. The reason you have to press your control is just to make sure that you are in the correct element. Okay, so for now I'm not pressing anything. Directly I'm going with this contextual menu and I'm going to give it a name. You can give any name which you can identify it later, and I'm going to use the name which is in the Excel itself. So for now we'll give vendor ID. Okay, so once your name is typed, you can also see its position and its tag. So currently this is edit, right, because we can edit the selected element. So and also you can see hold control key to stop moving. So when you're done with typing your name, make sure you click on your control and it is at the correct element, then you have to click on this plus icon, because there are high chances when you click on this plus icon the highlighter will go to some other element and your name will be tagged with a different element. So that is the reason you have to hold your control key to stop moving before you add it. So now the next step after enter your shipping vendor ID is to click on locate. So I'm going with this. Again you just have to slowly move your mouse, and when you click on this locate, you can see the tag is changed to button now. So let's provide the name. I'm going to provide locate button, and then again you have to press control if it is kind of moving. I'm going to click on plus. So similarly we are going to add everything, and in order to capture the message I'm just going with this blank box, and you can see the tag is text. So you can say message. I'm just giving message, and the next step is to enter every details from the Excel, so which is PO. So now let's quickly add everything, and also you can see the tag being changed every time you add. We also have to select this checkbox, right? So when you click on this checkbox, you can see the tag is also changed to checkbox. So now I'm going to just enter it is express delivery. So once you're done with capturing elements on the screen, you can simply close this, and you don't need to bother about where the highlighter is. You can simply close this pop-up. So I'm going to close this. So we are done with capturing of elements, right? So you have to click on this where you can see all the elements being captured here. So let's maximize this. So this is the actual screen, and also if you see for button we have this different symbol, and for checkbox we have this checkbox, and for the text boxes we have this different icon. You can also just differentiate it from here. So now we are going to click on this refresh screen along with its element. So I'm just going to click on this. As we have the application which is opened in the background, everything turns green. So now I'll just try to close it and we'll try to refresh. If you see, I have closed it, so I'm not seeing that it is getting turned into green. Okay, we are done with this. So also there are different things that you can do with this. Okay, so let me quickly open it. Now the next step is to modify the selectors. Okay, So when you just double click on this, you can see the screen match rules, and also you can see the properties at the below where the name says shipping management. So in case you want to edit the name, then you can do with this here. Okay, me at p. Okay, it's and also in case you want to change this screen, for example, it can be shipping management or shipping order or shipping purchase order. Like if you are dealing with multiple application which starts with shipping, then what you can do is you just have to double click on this, and you can look at this property where we have comparer. So currently the comparison is equal change to contains, and if it contains shipping, instead of equals I'm using contains. If the application title contains shipping, then that is the correct application, it should identify it. So let's click on somewhere else, maybe here, and we'll go back here, and you can see the title contains this, and this is class equals to. If you notice, you would have seen this here. Okay, in case you don't want this, or if this is something which gets frequently changing, then you can disable this. So similarly you can do for every elements also. You can just have to double click on this element. Currently this is locating by id. You can also change if you want to locate it by name or any specific things. And for this application it is not necessary to change anything here, because I'm just going to locate by the default value itself. This is locate id, and you can see the value which comes from the actual application. So you want to capture anything, you can also select the matching attributes from here. That's about the configuration of universal application connector. So we are done with everything, and I'm going to click on done now. Now let's see the connector here. So you can see the screen and you can see its elements here. Okay, so now let's see how you can use its method. For example, I'll simply double click on some random elements, and you can see its method. You can see this, and when we go with button, like you can see some different methods. Similarly it's for a checkbox, again you can see some different methods. Okay, so based on the element, the methods also get changed. Okay, so far we have opened the application, and we have read the excel and looping through it, right? So the next step is to enter the values into the actual application. So before we work on any application, is to maximize the application. For example, when you click on this screen, you again see different methods. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to maximize it. So I'm going to use this maximize. So once the application is maximized, I also want it to focus. So you can use this focus option. This is same as we noticed in the configurations. So we are going to click on focus. So the once the application is focused, now let's tag the value to the application. So the first value is to enter your vendor ID, which comes from the 0 index. So I'm going to use set text method and drag and drop get list item. So the first value goes to this vendor ID, and the next is locate button, where you have to click on this. So we'll use this, which has to click on this. Okay, so once this is clicked, we have to get the message. So we have to get the text from the respective message, right? So we have to use this get text. So once we have the text, we have to make a decision. So for which I'm going to use some string properties. Either we'll use go with contains, or what text we are going to search, and what is the actual text. So the actual text which comes from get text, and the text which we are going to search, it may be vendor not found, right? So we'll give not, maybe not found. Okay, so if this is true, then we should not process it, right? And also you can make use of this ignore case for the text you are searching, and currently I'm not going to use this. So the next step is to make a decision. So we'll use decision activity, sorry, component, and then you have to double click on this and provide any string value. So I'll use is not, so is not found. As soon as you enter your string, you can see a parameter also, so you just have to provide this to the boolean value. It is true. So if it is true, I'm going to display it. Maybe probably I can display it. You can format your text and then you can display it. For example, I'll just right click on this, click on transform properties. Then here the value it should be your vendor ID, right? So let's say that not exist or something, not found. So I'm just printing that it is not found. So for the value we have to pass the 0 index, so I'm just going to pass the value. You can also use some variables to make it more organized, and we are done with the message. So if it is not there, then we have to proceed with entering the rest of the fields. Click on this, we have to set the text if it is false, so I'm going to use this, and this comes from column 1, right? Yeah, this is from 1, so we'll use 1. And next is to set the text for, so we'll quickly do for everything. We are done with all the text field, and also if you remember, for the text field we have to convert uh, grams into kilograms, right? So we'll do this here, which is on the 6th index. So I'm just going to right click on this and click on transform data. So what value I'm going to transfer is, to the actual value I'm going to divide it by 1000, so to convert into kilograms. So I'm just going to click on OK. So in that way it will get the converted value. So now we are going with the checkboxes, which is express checkbox. So based on the Excel value it should select it. For example, if it is true, then it should check it, and for false it should uncheck it. So like there are different ways to achieve this, but let's see the simple way. First we'll just get the value from the and then we'll make a decision. Okay, so what we are going to make is, if it is true, I'm going to say it's true. So and also the values are always upper cases, right? So I'm not going to convert it to an uppercase and then compare it, so we can directly do this. So we have to pass the value from the 9th column. So if it is true, then we should, so before which we have to just compare it, right? I'm going to make use of this equals equal. Okay, so we have is equal, so after which only we actually have to use this decision. So the text 1 is from here and text 2 is true. So if both are equal, only then we have to check it. So I'm going to make a decision. So if it is true, we have to check this. So for checkbox we have methods called check and uncheck. I'll take this for the true port, and for the false port we have to uncheck the value. So similarly we can do this for this SMS checkbox. So once everything is processed, we have to submit it. So I'm just going to use this click button on the submit, then you can pass this here. So now we have entered the values from the Excel, right? And also we forgot to do one thing, that once everything is processed we have to close this application, right? So let's see what is the easy way to close this application. So I'm going to click on this icon, and to close this, if you see, we have a shortcut which is Alt plus F4. Okay, so now we have to just configure it. I'm going to click on this again, configure. Let's click on refresh screen and elements, and I'm going to click on capture element. So for capturing the element, I'm just clicking on this, and you see the tag is menu item. So let's click on menu itself, and I'm going to click on plus this. So we are going to close this. We are going to click on done. So we'll click on this menu, and at the end we have to just click on alt and F4, right? So if you look at the method, like either you can click on this or you can send your keys, but I'm going to directly try with this send keys. Okay, we'll use the send keys, which has to be at the end of the for loop, because once everything is processed we have to close it, right? So I'm going to put it here, and to provide your keys just double click on this, and you have to put it in your square brackets. Then we'll type in alt plus F4. Okay, then we'll click on enter. Okay, so we are done with everything. Just to make sure, I'm also going to use close method from the screen itself. This is close method, right? So let's see what's going to happen. And now we are going to run the process, so let's run it. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it as startup, and also we have to close the Excel because we are opening and reading it, right? So we have to close the Excel. We'll just close it. Okay, we are done with that. I'm going to close the application and Excel, and we'll trigger it. So it opened the Excel and it maximized it. So now it is trying